I think this might be the best time of the year to come to Ericeira and to Mafra. But why? So this is my favorite time of the year in Ericeira, and maybe it should be yours too. The main reason is that the first swells of the season start to hit just about now. Actually, it's quite huge behind me. And with these first storms in the North Atlantic, you start to see the waves that have been sleeping throughout summer come to life. These waves attract thousands of surfers every year to these lands, but during this short period, you can actually surf still in a 3-2, be dressed like this, and enjoy the fall colors that you have all around. But it's not only about surfing. Mafra has a bunch of stuff to offer. And in this particular season, you can still enjoy the transition of summer in nature, in its animals, but also in the way that humans have been transforming nature throughout history. And nowadays, we can taste this transformation in a quite special, sometimes unique way. This adventure starts tomorrow in one of the best bays, maybe the best bay of Portugal to surf. The most well-known ride probably in the country, Portugal, but it also has some surprises. Let's jump in, maybe I can show you.
Slow down, there's nothing to get you, can always turn it around. Oh, I shouldn't have met you, I only let you down. All night, in your bedroom, my thoughts were thinking loud. Oh, I shouldn't have met you, I shouldn't have left you. Shouldn't have left you.
So when I discovered that Mafra had been and is becoming once again a symbol for wine producing in the Lisbon region, I was very curious and wanted to explore a little bit more.
When the time when Wellington was here in the French invasions, Wellington particularly enjoyed our wines, Arinto, which is a local variety, and he sent it back to England to the court, and it was an extremely well-esteemed wine.
The proximity with the Atlantic and the mist that you sometimes have here, how do you feel that affects the wine quality? How does it make it more special?
We're just 12 kilometers from the Atlantic, so we have a strong Atlantic influence here with cool nights, and we still get a lot of sun during the day, but usually the sun doesn't come till mid-morning. It helps mainly with the freshness of the wines, getting a natural acidity. We have quite deep calcareous clay soils, and the clay helps to retain the humidity in the summer. This coolness is great for freshness, so higher acidity and minerality.
But proximity to the Atlantic is not the only thing that makes this region's wine so unique. There is a treasure here that cannot be found anywhere else in the world. Imagine you're dropped by a plane in Portugal, anywhere. Even if you don't know where you are, if you walk 30 kilometers in every given direction, you'll find a vineyard. Actually, Portugal has the biggest density when it comes to native indigenous varieties. We have 250 different indigenous varieties. Many of them are on the verge of extinction. And in here, in Cheleiros, you'll find one of the newest and probably most interesting stories about a grape variety that was gonna disappear and was in a way saved and savored by a lot of people afterwards. It's called Jean Paul, and I've been waiting for a long time to have a chance to try it out, and I guess today the wine tasting is gonna happen. Let's see what this is all about. Cheers.
Hey, John.
Oh, wow. I never had anything like that, actually.
Yeah. It's the only wine in the world made with this grape variety. And we only make between 8 to 10,000 bottles per vintage. If you have a wine snob friend, this is the one you take the picture and send it to them. Like, have you tasted this? No. Aha! You know?
But this was actually like a fruit of chance, no? It was something that
It
came
was an
about.
accident because the owner of the winery here at Mans Wine, Andre Mans, purchased an abandoned vineyard just to make wine for himself. And he found 200 vines of this grape variety. No one recognized it. They didn't know the name. It was some called João Paulo. But it actually turned out, we found out with the help of the Portuguese Institute of Wine, João Paulo, it's a Portuguese indigenous grape.
Someone in like the 12th century called named João Paulo.
I had the other day a guy that said, no, it was a monk that lived in the Mafra monastery called Jean Paul that called this his grape, so it's Jean Paul's grape. The wine business is all about stories.
Yeah.
We started with 200 vines. Now we've been cloning since 2007 to increase production, but we still only make 8,000 bottles. In the wine business, if you produce less than 1 million bottles, 1 million, you're considered boutique. It was considered by Bloomberg, you know, the financial channel in the United States, as one of the 10 most memorable wines of 2021. Forbes magazine in the United States also did an article in a review about this because it's the only wine in the world with this grape variety, so it's really exclusive.
What's the connection of this grape with the village?
The village, Cheleiros, this small village in the beginning of the 19th century. It had 800 people living here in 43 wineries. It's familiar business, like they all had their plots, they planted their vineyards. It's a native grape from this region, so that's why it's here in the first place. But it fell extinct like the region itself. So here this valley used to be planted with vineyards, now everything is gone. The land here is filled with rocks, big rocks. And it's really hard to work with machines. So when everyone worked with their hands, the prices were even and people came here because of the quality. But then
machines were introduced.
They lowered the costs, our neighbors lowered the costs.
So
we couldn't compete. The folks in the village couldn't compete. And keep in mind, you didn't have Vivino on your cell phone, wine blogger, so people didn't pay the premium for the quality. They just went for the price.
Because you can actually raise prices and become competitive again, but through being more premium, to having a good story, to have like a unique thing in the world.
Yeah, we have tools now to kind of like make people aware of why. Why is it more expensive? And if people understand and then they taste and they actually value the quality, the exclusiveness, you feel that we are 6 kilometers from the Atlantic Ocean. The vineyards here are filled with sea fossils, so you feel that freshness. Your mouth is watering right now because
for sure.
It's a natural acidity. And that's a cool thing about this wine. Since the beginning, when Andre, the owner, didn't have a name for the wine, he was just making one for himself. He needed to come up with a name, so just as a joke, he gave it the name of his mother-in-law, because she also has a really nice acidity. So the wine is called Dona Fatima in honor, as a tribute to his mother-in-law's acidity.
I wasn't prepared for that. I think we close here, huh? What I also love about Ericeira is that it's a very functional place to surf. Really amazing conditions, some of the best conditions in the world in here when everything aligns. But if it doesn't, it's not one of those places that works once every, 2 or 3 months. It works probably every day, even during summer, because it has these beach break options, especially Foz do Lisandro and São Julião, that are really some of the most consistent beach breaks in Europe. They pretty much are swell magnets. They work with every swell. It does get pretty classic, like some days when everything is in the right place, it gets crazy. But when it is not, like today, and we needed to surf somewhere, there's always a little bank. Actually, it was a pretty fun right-hand surf. It looked like a point break in the end. The sun is setting, and tomorrow we have some other natural adventures coming up. Adventures that will take me inland in Mafra to an iconic place that not everybody knows. Let's see if we can score there as well. Not that many places will offer you the chance to interact with so much diversity of wildlife from up close. Here in Tapada Nacional de Mafra, we get to really immerse ourselves in nature. But at the same time that there is so much to see within this wall, there is also a lot more to it than meets the eye.
O que eu vou fazer é procurá-lo com a ajuda da lanterna, já que principalmente as vacas são exatamente noturnas, é pesquisar, ver o que é que se passa. Se o animal estiver vivo, que é o caso deste, obviamente que não vou recolher, que não andamos com animais vivos supostamente nos bolos, portanto vou fotografá-lo, vou referir a sua presença no meu caderno de campo e vou devolvê-lo ao local onde o encontrei. Se o animal estiver morto, então é recolhido para um recipiente e é levado por quê? Porque nós temos um vasto programa de educação ambiental.
Quando as pessoas vêm aqui e visitam isto às 2 da tarde, os bichos já estão todos escondidos, o interessante é o lazer, é ver onde é que eles estão e tudo mais. Muita coisa passa despercebida que acontece nos bastidores,
sim,
que são este tipo de ações, não é?
Sem dúvida, sem dúvida. Mesmo a parte de divulgação, mesmo a parte de organização de programas específicos, tem todo um trabalho de bastidores enorme. A própria sinalização dos percursos pedestres tem em conta os ciclos de vida dos animais. Papel de cobra de ferradura, tem estas manchas por aqui. E mais um escaravelho aqui, olha, que é um dorcos, é muito parecido com as vacas, mas tem uns corninhos muito mais pequeninos. Está a ver o quanto é fantástica esta floresta, os tesouros que nós aqui descobrimos. Eu sou suspeita, mas agora tenho testemunhas.
So I loved one particular idea that Anna brought to us, which is to think of the forest as this sort of puzzle. When you see this pool that used to actually be a pool for kings and princesses, and now it's a pool for frogs and for insects, you are actually seeing the beginning of this whole chain, because the amphibians that are gonna eat the insects are gonna lay eggs and are gonna be eaten by birds. These birds are gonna lay eggs as well, and those eggs might be eaten by mammals and other predators. And this whole chain is actually what feeds the need of the public to come here, and then you visit this with other eyes. And I think that's the work that the biologists and the people that work in the park are doing all the time. It's to try to bring up the conditions so that we can enjoy it as a part of it, and I think that's pretty cool. And there's a frog over there. It really seems like at every turn you can observe in the smallest details that this place is bursting with life. But still, I'm hoping we get to see some bigger animals. You can track them down if you know where to look.
Nós temos uma carga muito elevada de animais que temos, de certo modo, que interferir em algumas alturas do ano, principalmente com a alimentação. Temos vários pontos de alimentação, que é o caso deste, com 3 equipamentos, um comedouro fixo, onde colocamos palha e fruta, um comedouro móvel, que é para onde eles estão a dirigir, que tem suplemento alimentar com cereais e granulado, especialmente concebido para estas espécies. Dependendo dos animais que frequentam cada ponto de alimentação, nós vamos gerindo o número de disparos que o comedouro efetua e o tempo de disparo. Ou seja, se tivermos um comedouro em que temos muitas fêmeas prenhes, colocamos mais disparos. Se encontrarmos javalis adultos, colocamos disparos à noite. Para quê? Para que eles se alimentem à noite e não venham durante o dia, porque os javalis são bastante territoriais e ao frequentarem os comedouros durante o dia com os cervídeos, tem tendência a haver ali algum atrito.
É mais um dos trabalhos escondidos.
Um dos trabalhos é gerir, digamos, estes restaurantes, entre aspas, servindo às horas convenientes a cada espécie.
So this looks like nothing, but in fact, it's signs like this one that give some of the most valuable information to somebody who comes here with a little bit more of a trained eye. It's the indirect sign that a wild boar during the night came here and used it kind of as a pool. And after this, he walked to that tree over there.
Pela altura da lama conseguimos ter uma ideia da corpulência do animal que frequenta o local, ou seja, quanto mais alta for a mancha de lama, maior o animal. Se olharmos com muita atenção por aqui, de certeza que há pelos de javali aí agarrados, são as cerdas.
Aqui.
Aqui estão. Estas marcas de comportamento, aquilo que nós chamamos de indícios de observação indiretos, são tão ou mais importantes para nós do que as observações diretas.
Muito fixe. Boa imagem. Mas esta imagem é tipo cachorrinhos à porrada, não é? Não é sério ainda.
É treino, é treino.
É treino.
É assim que eles acabam por ir treinando movimentos e técnicas, porque é exatamente assim que forem adultos, combatem, não é? É o jogo de força, é o jogo de empurra.
É um dos meus animais preferidos, é tão engraçado. In the valley you can see so many different animals, but it's only when you go up that you can actually get a grasp of how big this space actually is, how much work there has to be done in order for Tapada to be such an enjoyable place for anybody. And we leave wondering how many different stories there are still to tell in this place. I'm definitely gonna come back, because in between conversations we realized that there's so much more to see. But here in Mafra, people like me, surfers, have a big problem. We're quite close to some of the best waves in Europe, and as seasons change and fall is upon us, the wind has just picked up offshore, and we have to get somewhere before, well, everybody else does. I love a good wild boar as much as the next person, but the fact is that tomorrow it might be amazing in one of my favorite waves in Portugal, and it's one of the first swells of the season in this wave, so it's kind of time to go to bed. Maybe tomorrow there's a 5 a.m. call.
I'm telling you all I know. Are you hearing me? It's coming through what I think uncontrollably. I'm asking you to listen up, maybe understand. It's all I have to give you. It's my helping hand.
As winter is approaching, there are some bad news. I won't be able to be dressed like this in a few months. I won't be able to surf with the 3-2, but the waves are only going to get better. So I'll have many more excuses to come here, rewatch this amazing monument, and who knows, get the best waves of the year. Let's see.